I'm the Juggernaut, bitch!
We are the future, Charles, not them.
I'm kidding.
We're the X-Men, dated metaphor for racism in the 60s.
What's a Magneto? A very powerful mutant.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Enter the X-Verse. I'm Nathan, I'm one of your hosts. I'm joined by my friend, my equal in every right host, Kyle. Say hello.
Oh, hello, I'm Kyle.
We're back.
I'm just...
We took a week's vacation, Kyle, or you took a week's
week's
vacation.
vacation. I did. I was in New York City.
He was walking here.
I was walking here. I was, the Big Apple. That doesn't have anything to do with the movie we're watching. I assume. I have no idea where this is set.
This movie's set in upstate. It's set in the Avengers campus, Kyle. Upstate New York.
Which I believe is right next to the X-Mansion,
Yeah,
which is also in upstate New York.
It's a neighbourhood. It's a cul-de-sac.
It is, yeah. It's superhero
I'll
town.
tell you what, this is a narrative cul-de-sac.
It's also next to wherever One Division is. That's also in upstate New York,
Yes,
right?
Westview. Yes.
Westview, yep.
Mm-hmm. It's all
Good
the
stuff.
one. It's all the same. They all have the same senator.
I did drive into New York City, so I probably drove past all this stuff. So there you go.
You just missed it. You blinked. It's a blink and you miss it
did.
kind of thing.
Anyway, this week we're doing the New Mutants, aren't we?
Yeah, we are doing the New Mutants, but you're kind of outing it. You're outing it. I'm bearing the lead, Kyle.
Oh, you don't want people to know.
I don't want people to know. They'll turn off.
Nathan, I'm afraid it's already in the name
Oh,
of the
no.
episode.
Oh no, Kyle! We're supposed to trick them. We're supposed to tell them that we're reviewing, fucking Deadpool 3.
You know what, Nathan? We're pretty far along the X-verse now, and while this movie is not good, I don't think it's the worst movie we've done.
It is not the worst movie we've done. I actually have some takes that might. Well, you've read my notes, but I have some takes that might surprise people listening.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a pretty boring, strangely paced film.
Yes, that is the main issue with the movie. It's quite boring. It's not as boring as Fantastic, but it is pretty boring.
Yeah, but I think that this movie would not need a lot of tweaking, and it would be some sort of indie horror darling.
I agree. I agree with you. I think I would like that less because I'm not a big horror fan, but I think you could do that.
Yeah, yes, and I think that a lot of the actors and some of the characters are quite interesting.
Yes.
So I'll tell you right now, I think the MVP of this movie for me was Maisie Williams.
Interesting. Okay.
I
I think the MVP of this movie is Anya Taylor-Joy.
Oh, I think she's hamming it up, right?
She's hamming it up, but she's hamming it up effectively, I think.
I think she belongs in an actual X-Men movie.
Yes, I agree. I think you could easily bring this version of Magic back.
Yes, but I think that for this film, and maybe for the indie horror darling that I kind of wish this movie was, I think Maisie Williams just fits. I think she has a pretty solid Scottish accent. Not enjoy, but relative to the thematics of the movie, I enjoyed a lot of her kind of backstory, her struggles.
All of the Catholic guilt stuff.
Yeah, right, it's great, right?
All these movies are big on Catholic guilt.
Yeah, I mean, they're mutants, so it's about the gay allegory and the Catholics hate the gays.
Kind of goes beyond it. I actually, it's weird. I was listening to some other takes on this and they pointed this out. They never really draw, like, a parallel between the mutant stuff and the lesbian stuff. They just sort of, like, that they don't make that connection in the movie.
Yes,
though
they don't. But I guess it's because everyone on screen in this film is a mutant outside of, like, the dad at the start and the ghost of the dad. We assume. I get the mutant gene is passed down through the father.
You know who the actor was, by the way, for the dad?
No, but I know his face.
It was Slipknot, the man who can climb anything.
Yes, it was Slipknot, the man that can climb anything.
He's back, baby.
He's back. The DCEU's never really gone. Oh, what? Yeah, you're so right. Crazy, Kyle. Amazing. I know you from somewhere. And it just wasn't. It wasn't. Nothing was clicking.
Tell you what, he can climb though. Giant snowstorm bears.
He cannot. No, many such cases, Kyle. Many such cases.
I
myself struggled to climb big snowstorm bears.
Yeah.
10 out of every 10 men polled can't do that.
That's a crazy statistic.
Yeah, I know, but I think it's just we should be honest about the stats here, you know? I don't think any less of him.
I absolutely agree. So yeah, shall we just... Let's just get into it, shall we? So, I guess the movie's main character is Danny Moonstar, right? She's kind of the focal character for the most part.
She's your character, she's your audience insert. Yes,
but she's also like the main drive of everything in the plot, as it turns out. It's kind of a twist, even though it's extremely obvious what's happening.
Yes, This movie starts with an opening narration, Kyle. We're speaking about...
it does.
Bears.
Inside you there are two bears.
Yeah.
Even though the meme is always that it's two wolves.
Yes, but I don't know if this is maybe some Native American stuff.
Oh, it's not. It was made up in the 70s by Christians as like a thing that the wise Indian shamans told them.
Oh, about the bears?
About the wolves. The bears is just like even more made up version of that.
Or okay, I maybe thought the wolves was a twist on the bears thing.
Yeah, this, look, 2 steps forward, 1 steps back, whatever it is, the movie has a Native American protagonist, but it's not, it's like a very, like, surface level Hollywood interpretation of Native Americans, you know?
Is the main actress herself a Native American?
I think she is, yeah.
I actually didn't think the movie was going to lean into her Native American. I know, like, the bear and the necklace and stuff, like, the film's playing up on that, but, like, when Anya Taylor-Joy starts calling, like, Pocahontas, I'm like, oh, we're doing this.
Yeah, that does. Or I think she calls her Standing Rock at one point as well.
Yes, she does. There's a couple of moments of that. And I was like, right, okay, that's the avenue we're taking here. The Slavs versus the Native Americans.
Yes, a very famous worldwide conflict, apparently.
Yeah, right. But I'm Team Maisie Williams for their Germanics here. You know, the Celts.
Right,
I'm all about it. But yeah, so it's...
Her village is wiped out by a snow tornado, which makes things burst into flames.
I assumed it's something to do with her, though, right?
Yes, that's the reveal at the end, but I don't know if that makes any sense. But yes, technically it does. It's her evil demon bear.
That's running wreck through everything.
Yeah, because, okay, I guess we could... No one cares about spoilers for this movie.
No.
Right. Her power is that she can, like, manifest people's nightmares.
Interesting power set.
It is an interesting power set. I don't think they make it... They don't really clearly establish the rules of how it works in this movie very well, but it is interesting.
Yeah, no, because like sometimes it feels like it's just isolated to the victim of the nightmare, like it's their fear. Like a boggart in Harry Potter.
Sure.
But...
Sometimes it seems like it's just a hallucination, but sometimes it is like a physical creature that's attacking you.
Yeah, and then sometimes like it looks like it can only affect the victim, and then other times it's like it can kill everyone. Like the Smiling Man is just killing everyone, or trying to kill everyone.
Yeah, it's not clear. Like, is this a reality warping situation or is it a hallucination situation? It's both, I think.
I think it's both. I mean, this is my slight problem with why some tweaking would make this the an indie horror darling, right? Because I think that it kind of it wants to be like a more maybe slightly paranormal personal horror.
Yes, so much of this movie would make more sense if this was like an external force affecting them, if there was some sort of third party involved here.
Yes.
But there isn't.
It's just their own fears being used against them because Moonstar
it's an accident. Yeah,
she has powers she doesn't quite know she's got. Kyle, is this supposed to be a coming out story?
Not especially, I wouldn't say.
Well, she has the moment with Rain, Wolfsbane, you know, in the cemetery, and about maybe opening up, and then about her coming to terms with her powers as well, you know?
I don't get the impression that, like, being gay is a big deal for Danny as much as it is for Rain.
That's true. It does feel like at a certain point in this movie, the protagonist kind of flips, though.
Who do you think the protagonist is by the end of the movie?
Oh, flips and flips back, more spins. I think we go through quite a little segment where Anya Taylor-Joy is getting a lot of play.
Yeah, that's fair.
And don't get me wrong, it's still bookends. Moonstar is, or Danny, she is the protagonist at the beginning.
I want to say her superhero name is Mirage.
Yes, I looked this up, yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough, Mirage, you know, making your fears, which would have you believe it's a hallucination, not real.
Well, in the comic books it is a hallucination. This movie models it.
Yeah. You're right.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So her family is all wiped out, and she wakes up in this extremely evil-seeming facility with Dr. Reyes.
Yep. Ghost Rider, baby.
You know what? This movie is only, like 6 characters?
Yeah, it's quite a small cast.
Yeah. And I think of the 6 characters, Dr. Reyes is probably the worst because her motivations are the weakest.
She's just like the negative physical force that you can have on the ground. It's not a mystery. That's her, you know?
Yeah. I like her power. I like the visualization of her shields. They look cool.
Yeah, I think her visual effects for the shield look quite good, and I think an otherwise fairly underwhelming visual effects film.
I wouldn't say it's bad.
I think
it's fine.
all the bear stuff and the snowstorm stuff looks awful. I think it looks like a Snapchat filter put over the screen.
Uh-huh.
I think that
I think all the stuff with magic looks pretty cool.
You barely see it though, right? I guess you could say what we see of it is good, but it's used so sparingly. Like we never actually spend time in her hell realm, her pocket dimension.
Yeah, we'll get into this. It doesn't make any sense that magic is here at all, since she can open a portal to another dimension, unless Reyes' shield extends to other dimensions.
Which would be quite the pull.
It would indeed.
Absolutely. But, yeah, no, I mean, I think the characters of this movie can be quite strong, actually, outside of Reyes.
I don't think Danny's a particularly strong character, to be honest.
No, he's oh, sorry, I'm thinking Bobby, sorry. Yeah, Danny is maybe the weaker part. It's always, it's like an Acolyte, the weakest part's the protagonist.
Yeah, she's very blank slate, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But, character, audience insert, it's just for you paste yourself onto it to be in that world,
Yeah, they're in this creepy facility that is a place where young mutants can learn their powers, but it's not the X-Mansion. It's, in many ways, it makes kind of more sense than the X-Mansion because, we've seen what happens when you get a young Cyclops. He blows up a tree. You don't want that to happen.
Yeah, this is more realistically what would probably happen.
Mm-hmm.
This is where the guy that has Elon Musk's brain chip is. This is exactly where he is right now. This is where he's playing Simpsons.
We meet our fellow New Mutants in it's like a group therapy session. For some reason, they're in this massive facility, even though there's only 5 of them.
And
it seems like there should be more staff walking around.
I
or something.
thought the place would be littered with orderlies.
Yeah, exactly. It seems weird that they have this massive facility, but there's only one person working there.
I can explain it to you if you like.
Oh, sure.
They spent all their money on the location, and they ran out of money for staff.
Right, for extras, yeah.
For extras, yeah. Because it's just clearly a big house. I think maybe it's a deliberate incentive also it's meant to be echoey of the X-Mansion. This big house
for sure, yeah.
in the middle of nowhere. You have your figurehead teacher and just nothing.
For some reason, the movie kind of wants you to think this is an official X-Men thing, even though you never for a single second believe that.
The characters kind of float it, but I think maybe it's supposed to be one of those things where you, as the audience, are ahead of the characters. You're like, no, it's not.
Yeah, but every twist of the movie is kind of like that. There's never a single mystery of if the nightmares are Danny's doing or not, because they show the camera views of psionic energy happening whenever there's nightmares, so you know immediately that it's Danny.
Yeah, well, so I had the wool pulled over my eyes at one point, actually, Kyle. Maybe I looked away.
Okay.
But so Bobby, or himbo of the film,
mm.
Roberto, is that his full name?
I think so. Yeah.
So he goes because there's a power cut and they're all goofing off because they decide to knock out Reyes and go party instead of escaping.
Trying to escape?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess Reyes' shield still works when she's asleep.
Yeah, apparently. But they just decide to party. Not that Reyes seem to ever have a problem with them partying.
No, they seem to have pretty open access to this building, to be honest.
Reyes never ever had any issue with them partying. They had complete carte blanche, with access to basically everywhere, maybe not the vents.
They can go up the clock tower and stuff. I don't know, man. It seems like they just have open access to this entire facility.
So when Reyes is sleeping, Ileana Rasputin, Anya Taylor-Joy, she goes for a swim.
Sister of Colossus.
Yep, she goes for a swim in the pool that they have. And Ricardo, Bobby, Sunspot, he's like, let me go, I'm going to go see this girl because I kind of like her. Don't know why you like her, she's crazy, but you like her. And this is the bit where if this was an actual horror movie, in 18 or something, you get like a sex scene, right?
Sure, yeah.
And they're into each other, and he starts like, because he tries to keep his powers a mystery, though he decides to go into a lie detector test for a game earlier in the movie.
Yeah.
But he gets hot,
which they just have in the attic for some reason.
Yeah, this is for old stuff from before it became a hospital, Kyle, don't you know? They just have that.
Okay, sure, okay, yeah.
That is a line. I don't buy it. But he starts to get hot and steamy, you know, because funny. She's like messing around with him, and then she disappears under the water, and she pops back up, and it's like a demon hand.
Yeah.
And then we cut to
well, he tells his tragic backstory about how he burned his girlfriend alive with his powers.
Oh, yes. Which that's a good bit, actually. Good character development there. That's why he's so encloseted about his powers. He doesn't want to talk about his powers, and he doesn't really want to get sexual with someone because, like, the last person he got sexual with, I think he killed, right?
Yeah. It's very rogue.
Yeah, yes. So, good for him. And then it turns out this is not Ileana Rasputin. This is Demon Man. Demon Fire.
Mm-hmm.
Molten
well,
Man.
I think it's dead girlfriend, right?
Is it? I thought it was just like a molten, scary...
I'm pretty sure it's the flaming corpse of his dead girlfriend.
Oh, okay. Well, see, you've made it darker than I ever did. That's good. But perfectly valid reading. You're probably right. I just maybe didn't read it deep enough. And then there's we cut to a shot of all the CCTV cameras that's clearly monitoring all the people housed here. And we see Ileana Rasputin in her room doing whatever. And oh my god, it's not actually her that Bobby has been flirting with in the pool this whole time. And I thought she had a power where she could duplicate herself. And she was doing this to distract him so that she could get away. She wanted to break out in this moment.
Uh-huh.
And then it wasn't until I think later on where she flat out denies that she was ever there. When he challenges her when she's trying to at the door. And then Reyes even backs her up and is like, yeah, she wasn't there, what are you talking about? Because they show up to him, and there's this awful CGI effect of her using a pull brush to push him into the water to put his legs. It's just a really bad effect. Yeah. It's clear that brush is not touching anything real. Yeah, so that I believed that it was her. Or sorry, I believed that it was her making a copy. I didn't think of Danny at all.
See, I didn't know her powers. I know her powers, and I know she can make copies, so I never believed that.
Right, okay, so I was completely unaware of this. So I thought it was something that Ileana was doing. I thought she could maybe make a copy. And within the context of this movie, no comic book input required, I think that's entirely believable that maybe this movie decided to give us some and then suddenly. Within
the context of this movie, they do not explain Ileana's powers at all.
No,
so.
They do not. They do not at all.
I mainly know her stuff from the Midnight Suns game, which she's a big part of.
Is she?
But she's one of the Midnight Suns.
Interesting.
So, yeah, her deal is she can open portals to Limbo, this other dimension, which she can use to teleport around.
Yeah.
She got trapped in Limbo for a long time, where she also learned magic, which is why she has a big sword. So,
a big metal armor.
The sword and the metal armor are magic. Those aren't mutant powers.
Yes.
Except in this movie they are. I don't know.
Who knows? But Reyes' shield can deflect them.
Yes. Also, she has a puppet that turns into an actual pterodactyl.
Yeah, she's just insane. I forgot all about the puppet. We never spoke about the puppet. But listen, all this was to acknowledge, Kyle, that I think this movie had successfully had some kind of twist. I didn't really buy any of the other twists, but that one was oh, it's not actually her. Ah.
Okay, well that didn't work for me at all. So there you go. We're our third. Who are our other characters? We've covered Magic. We've covered Sunspot. He was in Days of Future Past technically, but it was a different guy.
Yes, he was played by wonderful actor man who was in Designated Survivor who passed away recently.
Yes, we talked about it extensively.
Yes, we did. Yeah.
We've also got Cannonball, good old Southern boy
from Stranger Things fame.
Yes, he's Stranger Things brother. And his deal is he can cannonball.
His mutant power is that he can sometimes have a really southern accent, and then other times not.
Yeah, there's some fun accents going on in this movie.
Oh, yeah. Is this someone from the US's idea of an international cast?
I think so, yeah. Also, the guy from Brazil doesn't have an accent. He's just got an American accent.
Yeah.
So.
Mm-hmm. You know what I liked about Sam Cannonball and Bobby Sunspot?
Yeah.
See, when everything's happening, they're just in the kitchen chilling.
Oh yeah,
But
they're just vibing.
they're not the drama in this movie. They're just having a nice time.
They're crossing the class divide, Nathan, because Sam is poor, but Bobby is rich, but they can still be friends, you see.
Class commentary, okay. I love class analysis.
Class analysis, yeah. That's what this movie's about. Capitalism was the villain all along, right?
Yeah, well, for... you know what? I'm just going to say it. So we spoke about how, like, this is supposed to be like, maybe like the film wants to dangle this being like an X-Mansion in front of you. And then this is the twist of, oh no, it's actually not. But it's not really a twist because no one ever believed that it was.
Yeah.
But I really thought that the twist was going to be that this is run by William Stryker.
Yeah. Well, for clarity, Nathan, you've never seen this movie before,
No,
right?
I've never seen this movie before.
Yeah.
Have you seen this movie
we were
before?
good.
Yeah.
I've seen parts of this movie before.
Right,
I gave up first time I tried watching it.
So I thought that it was going to be like a government-run operation, like kind of not-for-profit, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, no, but no, Nathan. It's the Essex Corporation.
So it is for profit.
It is for
It's
profit.
run by Dr. Rice, Kyle. Or so one would be led to believe. He's never introduced into the movie or mentioned.
Well, we see, and to raise his mind, and we see what I think actually is footage from Logan of, like, the secret facility where they're getting children all
Oh, really?
like, into super soldiers. I think it's if it's not, it's extremely similar.
You know what? This film doesn't look like it had the budget to reshoot that, so...
So it very well may be the same
very
footage
well
from
maybe,
Logan.
yeah, maybe they just put a reverse filter, like a reflected filter onto it.
So they don't get flagged for copyright.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so this movie is actually set in the Logan timeline, I guess.
I guess, supposedly. This is
Even though in Logan there hadn't been any New Mutants in 20 years, but it's fine.
Well, these New Mutants were protected. See, there you go, Kyle. These New Mutants were protected under Rhea's shield. They were secrets. That must be quite brain intensive for her to keep the shield up at all times.
I would think so. I guess she just has it sort of like... I mean, she's doing it while she's asleep, as mentioned. So yeah. It just must be like a background thing that she's got in her brain constantly running.
Can I bring up something about this movie, Kyle, that I find just crazy?
Of course.
This film was shot in principal photography through 2017.
Yep.
With an original release date for 2018.
I did know this, yeah.
And it did not release until 2020.
Insane.
And yes, so when the cast were doing the press tours and junket for it, they kind of barely remembered what stories they had to tell. Because they all live successful movie careers. Like, I bet Anya Taylor-Joy got this off the back of, like, Split. And Split with James McAvoy.
Maisie Williams was doing, like, Game of Thrones.
Yep.
You know?
Game of Thrones before and during and after this, you know?
Yes. This would have been filmed during, like, season 4, and by the time it came out, it was season 7.
Yeah, right? Absolutely, like, insane window there, because originally they wanted to reshoot it. They wanted to bring people back, and they ultimately couldn't get people back for it, including the director, and then just kind of edited the shit out of it and released what they had. This is a movie that, had it come out during or post-pandemic, would have been a tax write-off, I think. You know?
Oh yeah, this would have been Batgirl for sure.
This would have been Batgirl for sure. Maybe this is about how good the Batgirl movie was going to be. Like, not the worst movie you would watch in your series of movie reviews, but like, just kind of a bit boring.
Yeah, it certainly doesn't feel like we planned this as the last movie in the Fox X-Men universe.
This was supposed to be the start, Kyle.
This is the New Mutants.
Yeah, exactly, right? Probably the last time we're having this title used in their movies for a while.
I would guess so, yes. Even though I think like people quite like the comic run, but, you know.
Yeah, well.
Not the movie.
Not the movie, like you say, Kyle, like you say.
Oh, before we move on from the Essex Corp, do you know the deal behind Essex Corp, by the way?
No.
And why it keeps showing up in these movies?
Capitalism.
Well, capitalism, yes, but it's run by Nathaniel Essex, or I think it's Nathaniel Essex, who is Mr. Sinister.
Mr. Sinister,
like,
yeah, I did know that, yeah.
Yeah. He's like the most significant X-Men villain that hasn't been in any of the movies, and they were kind of trying to hint at him as being like the Thanos of this universe, so he's in the background and he's manipulating things, but they just never got that far.
Yeah, see, I thought that they were playing into Richard E. Grant being Mr. Sinister, like a really shit Mr. Sinister in Logan. I know apparently Dr. Rice is a different character, right? But I remember like when the X-Men Apocalypse end, where it's the Essex Corps collecting Logan's blood, and then he was showing up in the trails for Logan. People were like, "He's gonna be Mr. Sinister," you know? I'd be open to it.
Yeah, it's just kind of funny. This is what happens when you don't get your Thanos. It's just all these little threads don't actually go anywhere.
Yeah, Essex Corp, all cancelled. Yeah, but like if the last time we saw Thanos is like at the end of Age of Ultron, where he says he'd do it himself.
Exactly like that. Yeah.
You're like, guess you won't.
Yeah. Or if the last time you saw him was in Guardians of the Galaxy, where he shows up for 2 minutes to moan.
He says, "I will bathe the starways with your blood." That's a great line.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, back to the New Mutants, because our final person in the therapy session is Maisie Williams' Rain, Wolfsbane.
Yep, interesting character.
Yeah, and her deal is she can turn into a wolf.
Pretty shit power.
I mean, it's not, like, in the grand scheme of X-Men powers, it's not bad, especially since she gets, like, the in-between form, where she can basically be, like a human wolf person. That's pretty good.
Yeah, with, like, the good tracking powers and all that, like, yeah, that's all fine.
And claws, yeah.
But just becoming a wolf, I don't know, I want, like, fire or electricity or something, like, elemental, just, like, becoming
I have a question. What would happen if she was bitten by a werewolf who also exists in the Marvel Universe?
Oh, nothing.
Would she just, like, lose would she transform into a different kind of wolf?
She would transform into a kind of wolf that doesn't know to turn back again. Right,
yeah.
Or maybe, like, she could only use her powers once every full moon,
Interesting, yeah. Mm-hmm. Anyway, her deal is she grew up somewhere in North Scotland, I assume, where it's very religious.
Yeah, I think she grew up, like, in the Hebrides or something.
Yeah, something like that. With, like, the most, like, cartoonish cardinal man you've ever seen in your life. He's wearing, like, the full black robes with red trim and everything.
He notably didn't sound very Scottish at all.
No, I guess not. No, I guess he was a missionary from down south.
Apparently, I thought he sounded just American, to be honest with you, Ken.
I can't place it, to be honest, but yeah.
He just kind of shouted. He seemed like he was from, like, a Pennywise film.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he, the people of her township village, they're all cooks because, we're Scottish, thus must be religious weirdos that live in crofts.
I don't know if that's a usual stereotype, to be fair.
I think it could be a thing for, like, Scottish, Irish Catholics, all being, like, superstitious and kind of, especially more you go into the islands in Scotland.
I suppose so. It's just not normally one we see represented in Hollywood movies.
Maybe.
She's not an engineer, is what I'm saying.
Oh, yes, okay, he's not Mr. Scott. But, like, the brand Rain with a W that on her back's very clearly a W.
It's for which?
I thought it was for Wolfsbane, Kyle.
No, it's she gives her whole, like, sad backstory and how they called her a witch and all that. So yeah, it's W for witch.
Why the hell are they doing this in 2020 something?
That's a great question. Actually, better question, Ethan. When is this movie even set?
Yeah, so it came out in 2020, shot in 2017. I'm happy to say this movie's supposed to be set just whenever the hell they shot the thing, so let's just say 2017.
I think so, because Standing Rock is a pretty contemporary reference for 2017.
Do you know what brought out Danny's, like, trauma powers?
What was it?
She just saw Justice League.
And that, it was lingering in the back of her brain, and it summoned the bear.
And
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I'm happy to just say that that's when this is set. But, like, in 2017 or 2015 or whenever Rain was branded, what the hell? Like, what? And then, when were they suddenly just, like, instead of hunting her and harassing her, being like, actually, no, we're going to send you off to this facility where they can test you because we're very compassionate all of a sudden? I don't imagine that, I know it's a bad place, right? But I don't imagine that Reyes was like, yeah, this is a bad place, I'm taking you to there. She was probably giving them the compassionate plea.
Well, I imagine she was just sort of picked up at some point. That seems like how most people get there, although I don't understand how Bobby got there considering his parents are rich.
Yeah, because they don't care about their son, maybe?
Okay, so they're fine with him being turned into a super weapon for the Essex Corporation?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess they suck.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, I mean,
fine. Yeah, I guess they're rich.
Parents
so
hating their mutant children is quite core to the X-Men, would you not say?
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, okay. Of all of them, I feel like he's the one that makes the least sense to be there.
If his parents were trying to do handouts and get favours, then sure. But I'm just led to believe.
Especially since also we don't even know which country this is supposed to be set in.
Upstate New York, Kyle.
I know we did see it. It does look like upstate New York, to be fair.
You drove past it, Kyle.
I did drive past it, yeah.
But this is like the mansion at the bottom of the X-Men's mansion garden. This is like the guest house. This is Charles's guest house. This is happening in.
Well, okay, the X-Men do exist in this universe. I guess they just they don't know about this facility at all.
I mean, the Essex Corp are pretty secretive.
I suppose
so. They've been testing on children for a while before I think
Charles
like killed everyone accidentally.
If it's suspicious snow tornado killed everyone in the town except for one person, I feel like the X-Men would, check up on that probably.
They don't like Native Americans? I don't know. Like, the X-Men are like in the...
Nathan, there's that one guy in Days of Future Past, you remember?
Oh yeah, you're right. I forgot they love the Oklahoma Nation. Well, I mean, listen, they're East Coast heroes, and it's kind of like Middle America, where reservations are, right?
Well, upstate New York.
What?
Reservations are all over America, Nathan.
I thought Native Americans got pushed more and more inward and away from like their actual land.
That is true, to be fair, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe the X-Men don't range out that far, Need West Coast Avengers for that. But Maisie Williams' brand, she can be rebranded in these hallucinations, Kyle.
Yes, because it's a physical thing that actually happens.
Yeah, and she's like, I can't, and she gets branded a second time in one of the scary horror moments of the movie, and it's like the W is put on upside down onto her neck. She can't hide it.
So it looks like an M. Yes, it's very annoying.
I hate it. Right? Not that it happened, just that it looks bad.
Yeah, aim your brand right, you silly cardinal.
All I could think of was like, have you tried switching it to Mumbo from SpongeBob SquarePants with the Mermaid Man utility belt that's not working?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, that's all I could think of. But she has a lot of repression. She goes to confessional, Kyle. She goes to the church, the chapel that's empty.
They have an on-site chapel, yes.
They don't have a priest, though. And she goes into the confessional booth and speaks to no one, but then no one starts speaking back to her.
Yeah. And then she runs outside and says demons can't come in churches, even though I think that's just what happens. So I think you've been disproven.
Yeah, checkmate.
Because later she runs to the church. It's like, oh, the bear won't be able to get us in the church, even though you already know that they can come inside the church because you've seen it happen already.
Faith is a hard thing to break, Kyle.
Okay, right? Sure.
But I quite like that actually. So I'm a big fan of The Exorcist. Well, specifically, I'm a big fan of The Exorcist original and The Exorcist 3, and they deal with a lot about the meaning of life and why does bad things happen to good people, etc., etc. And seeing her faith be utterly challenged and then shattered in front of her when she's in a confessional booth is quite interesting to me. To see how she would deal with that. But then this is an X-Men film, not a good X-Men movie, and sort of just doesn't. And I was like, oh, okay. Okay. I enjoyed, like, I thought she was oversharing about the film, didn't need me to know all this. Like, I get the repressed gay stuff and the Catholic guilt, but then it just started saying shit, and I'm like, I don't need to know, actually. I reckon. I
did want to say, there's a scene where they were, like, all hanging out, and she's watching TV, and it's just, like, the most on-the-nose thing ever. It's a scene from Buffy where one of the lesbian characters is kissing her girlfriend for the first time. And it's like, oh, I wonder if you're learning anything about yourself right now, Rain, watching this on the screen.
I kind of got the impression she liked Danny the whole time. Just...
Oh, yeah, no, it's just, oh, she's watching TV. What do we have her watch? Gay Kiss. There we go.
Yeah, yes, okay, well, listen, that's just, that's for, like, the idiots in the audience. Like, do you see it?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, no, this movie is extremely unsubtle about everything.
Yeah, right. So the movie is incredibly unsubtle about everything, Kyle. And that kind of comes to a head where, like, when she's doing this confessional, she mentions how she went into the vents and she needs to be forgiven. I was like, what the fuck's wrong with going in the vents?
It sort of just deposits her outside.
The shield.
It is. The shield extends pretty far.
Yeah, so why can't she just walk out the front door?
I think maybe the doors lock at night and they just never established that.
Oh, no, I guess Liliana, she tries to get out after the swimming pool incident and it's like shielded.
Okay, maybe. So
the front door is energy shielded at night. Right.
But she didn't bother to energy shield the vents, I guess.
No, she did not.
I mean, it's unclear because it seems like whenever they're hanging out, we see that Reyes is actually spying them on them in the cameras. So it's like she doesn't actually care too much about enforcing the rules.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But they go to this cemetery and they lie down and they look at the star. Well, they look at because it's raining, but when it rains on top of the shield, it just it looks like red flashing constellations. And then when it gets thunder and stuff, it's just like the sky lights up red. And I think it's actually pretty nice. It doesn't look like a cheap Snapchat effect at that point, but I just think that I don't know, it kind of works.
It's conceptually romantic, sure.
Yeah, especially when and then it's like fireworks and they're talking to each other and they kiss. And I'm like, God, who didn't see that coming? That's very unsubtle. But by the way, loved it. I'm not as big sucker for romance as Kyle is, but I like that, right? I'm a big.
Yeah, it's a good scene, sure.
Yeah, good little scene.
It comes into question how long this movie takes place over.
Yeah, this is one of those scenes where I'm like, how long have they known each other?
Yeah, did they meet yesterday? Because it kind of feels like they did.
Yeah, I mean, I think this might have been the one point, not the one point, but this might be one of the first instances of the movie where I'm like, what? How long? How long is it? How long?
Yeah, it's either been 3 days or 5 months. I have no idea. I think it's been more than 3 days. I feel like it simply has to have been, I feel like she's been there for a while by the end of the movie.
I think she's been there for a week by the end of the movie.
Yeah, it's not clear at all.
We haven't spoke about Ileana's trauma.
Yes, well, hers ends up being one of the most important ones, I guess.
She's scared.
It's also not entirely clear.
She's scared of Slender Man?
She's scared of the smiling man, who it seems based on the outfit it's wearing and the tattoos. I'm assuming this is Russian mafia guys.
Yeah, a John Wick character.
Yeah, a John Wick character who she in her childhood imagination is imagining as this creepy slender man
who wears a smiley face mask and then takes it off.
Even though he also has a smiley face underneath.
Arguably, I think the mask's scarier.
I think so too.
So, I have a question. It's not a question, I just have something to bring up. So, I was looking at the cast of this movie. And there's 2 people listed under Smiling Man.
I think I know what you're going to bring up. I did hear about this, but go ahead.
One of them is some tall guy whose name I forget. To my own...
Some Doug Jones type.
My own... Yeah, Doug Jones type, to discredit. The other is Marilyn Manson.
Yep. And which in 2017, kind of insane.
But where? How? What? Why?
I think he did the voice or something.
Did the Smiling Man speak?
I think they sort of make evil noises.
Right, okay. I just thought maybe the tattoos on the chest are Marilyn Manson's tattoos or something. I don't know. I was just this is when Marilyn Manson's kind of a very heavy alcoholic. And
yes, this is deep into the Marilyn Manson controversial stuff.
Yeah, Marilyn Manson's kind of turned himself around the past year or two. He's got himself sober and he's touring and he's doing good work again. But this was bad time Marilyn Manson during that era, and he's bloated and he's fat. And I'm you're certainly not playing the Smiling Man. Mm-hmm. How are you the Smiling Man? Maybe he has just used her the voice.
Yeah, I think so.
I didn't see his name in the credits though. I've looked into it that little, except when I googled it and saw his name come up, and I was like, "What? Mm-hmm. He's the Smiling Man." So I just didn't want to let that pass.
Yeah, the Smiling. It's very strange. This is another part where there's a part. Magic's trauma is, I guess, she was abused as a child. That's the assumption. So she says that she created an alternate dimension to hide in somehow.
That was how her mutant powers manifested? She was...
Yeah.
Did she create the dimension, or did she just, her mutant powers...
She says she created it.
Yeah, I know she does, but maybe she just created the portal?
That makes more sense than her physically creating an entire dimension.
Yeah, her mutant powers just manifested in such a way that allowed her access to this pre-existing plane.
She also says she's killed 18 men. When did that happen?
Probably in Russia.
Yeah, I guess. Did she, go on a murder spree of all the Smiling Men? I don't know.
Maybe the Smiling Men are, each 18 men that she's killed, Kel.
Maybe. Then why is she so terrified of them to the point of being, unable to function until she suddenly is able to function?
She's deeply traumatized by her actions, Kel.
I guess. This is also when Sam is don't worry about it, Ileana, they're not real. Even though we know that they're real, we know that they can do physical
And he
damage. What are you saying,
cannonballs
Sam?
through them, which I think was quite a funny bit, and they're like still like rolling around on the floor.
Yeah. This movie, quite often during the horror movies, has these characters forget that they're superheroes.
Yes, they do. I would say though, when Eliane decides to fight these smiling men, because there's multiple of them, they keep like duplicating.
Yeah, they kind of become like the main like force of this demon for a while. It seems like if you're doing this movie properly, they should all be being attacked by their own nightmares.
Yeah.
Like the on fire girlfriend should come back, and like some miners should be attacking Sam or something.
Yeah, well, this is why I'm saying that this is. I said like the bit with the protagonist of the movie kind of twist. This is where I think it becomes Eliane. Now I say it does stick the landing, go back to Danny. So maybe it doesn't flip and it more just sort of rotates briefly.
Yeah,
but I was like, the smelly men are getting a lot of fucking playtime here. But then I
guess they came up with this design and they're like, oh, we like this design, let's just keep using it.
Yeah, I mean, I liked the design, but I would have thought because they're like mirage hallucination types nightmares that like she couldn't hurt them.
Yeah, or how you would do this, how I would do this, Nathan, in like a classic superhero way, is they have to fight each other's demons, you know, and work as a team.
I see, yes, like an X-Men movie.
Yeah, so magic ends up like slashing the priest in half or whatever, you know.
Yeah. Like she brands him with her sword.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But that doesn't happen at all.
No, not at all. Not at all.
I mean, I guess all of them end up fighting the bear in the end and doing nothing to it.
Because she's the protagonist, Kyle.
Sure, okay. Oh, Nathan. I want to talk about the demon bear. Can we talk about the demon bear?
The bit where they all decide to fight one person's fear as opposed to each other's fears? Yeah, go for it. I mean,
there's that. I just want to talk about the demon bear conceptually in general, because it's, I guess, the main antagonist of the movie.
Well, sure, but because that's maybe the main antagonist, can I quickly touch on something that annoyed me?
Oh,
Sorry
sure,
to completely break your momentum there, but I feel that the bear is the climax, thus we should come to that after this.
Okay,
because
fine,
it would be a step down to go on to what I want to talk about after that. So, Reyes has been given orders from Dr. Claw or something, I don't know.
Yeah, we see her get the orders on a screen, so there's no mystery about it.
Yeah,
like, just cut that scene and then we can have some sort of mystery if Reyes is going to kill her or not.
Yeah,
and then it'll be a reveal.
It's time to kill Danny, right? She gotta go.
Yeah.
And
because they've immediately deduced that she's the one causing all the nightmares, and I guess they feel like she's too dangerous.
even though you have a fucking someone called Rasputin that can do magic with swords and armor there.
Even though that's the point of this entire facility, is to find mutants like Danny and turn them into super weapons. You've just found a great super weapon. Just figure out how to control it. Give it more than a week.
Yeah, she could like be like the enchantress of this universe.
Absolutely.
And they're like, okay, we're putting you down, and then Reyes reveals to Danny that she's gonna kill her when she's like,
yeah, she's like, sometimes you have to euthanize a dog because it has rabies, and you're the dog with rabies, Danny.
Yeah, you're going to die now, Danny. Hello, I'm bad. And apparently, because he thinks it's just going to be a procedure that maybe Rain can sit with her through, and then she's like, no, you can come in after for the aftercare. It's like we're just going to sit and cradle her dead body. But I guess she hasn't revealed that she's killing her yet. But after that, they then like decide we need to go, kill this bitch.
Yeah.
Because they failed.
Well, Rain drops down and scratches her up a bit.
Yes, this is true. This is correct, Kyle. But when they discover they need to kill her to get out, because Liliana's like, let's kill the bitch.
Mm.
Why did they then stay around for so long after she's dead?
To fight the bear, I think. The bear shows up immediately, so... The bear kills Reyes.
Yeah, yes, the bear does kill Reyes. Hold on, I'm sure I've got something in my notes here. I do say
it's when they drug her. Is why don't they try and escape? That doesn't make any sense.
Yes, why don't they try and escape? Yeah. That doesn't make any sense at all when, like, just fucking leave, I do know that Rain does one hell of an RPG stealth attack on Reyes in the vents.
Uh-huh.
And then Reyes just runs away.
Why would Rain ever transform into full wolf form? How is that anyway more advantageous than the half wolf form?
Because it's too expensive, Kyle.
No, which one? Surely, like, the full wolf is more expensive than the half wolf.
Nah, you can just put some practical effects on that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So why... in character, why would she ever go full wolf?
Oh, I see.
What's
Sorry,
the
I've
advantage?
misunderstood you. Because friend-shaped?
more huggable.
Yeah,
sure.
you people like dogs.
I guess this would be like a disguise.
Yeah, you get through like security checkpoints and stuff. Yeah. I bet you're quicker as well. I bet she's much more nimble in wolf form.
I guess, maybe. It's just, for the most part, it seems like the half-wolf form is much more useful.
Yes, I tend to agree. I think that's because she doesn't spend much time in wolf form in this movie.
No, she doesn't, because, yeah, as you say, it's too expensive.
Oh, no, I remember.
It's a CGI wolf.
I remember now about the Reyes thing I had to do. It is at the end of my notes here. So I have a quote here at the end. So after we've fought the bear and everything, right, we go to, like, throughout the movie, Sam has been carrying this lump of coal with him because he was a coal miner. So, like, to remind him of his guilt that he, like, killed everyone.
Yes. And
he throws it to let it go, right? To let him getting rid of this. And he cannonballs it into the stratosphere. And then someone goes, "Hey guys, the dome is gone." And I'm like, yeah.
Uh-huh.
That's why you wanted...
Yeah, we know that's why we killed her.
That's why you wanted to go kill Reyes earlier. You knew this would happen. Yeah. Why are you so surprised?
Yeah, it's weird.
But yeah, so Reyes isn't dead. She runs heartedly to like the corner of some place that has a microphone where she can be like the fucking Wizard of Oz talking to them.
Yeah, she's like, just go back to your room, Danny. I promise I won't try and murder you a second time.
Yeah. And then that's where your favourite character, Yogi Bear, shows up.
Yogi Bear does show up and he eats Reyes.
And really quite thrashes her around quite a bit.
Yeah, there's a really weird visual gag at the end of the movie where I think, like, Bobby picks up one of her boots and, like, a bunch of gore slops out of it, and, like, that's a weird-ass joke to throw in there.
You're right, you're so right.
Because this movie has, like, one or two quips that feel extremely out of place.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, I think it's because this movie kind of didn't really know what it wanted to be or what age rate it might have been going for. It wanted to be a horror movie, but then it wanted to be a family accessible comic book movie.
Yeah, it certainly it has an identity issue.
Yes, it does.
But Nathan, let's talk about the bear. Okay, so the bear is Danny's ultimate fear, right?
Yes, and it gets bigger the older you get in life.
Yeah, it's her version. Well, it's her version of like the Smiling Man, right? It's like it's her own personal greatest fear. But the fear is based on this story that her dad told her as a kid about the bear. And the way she explains this is bonkers to me. She's like, "Oh, I was having trouble sleeping as a kid, so my dad told me this story about how there's a bear inside me that gets bigger and more evil and tries to murder me, and that made me feel more comfortable, and that's why I wear this necklace." Well,
it was to remind you of a time in your life, because basically Dad was like, "Life's hard, kid, and it's going to get a lot fucking harder the older you get. I'm going to make you a necklace to remind you of a time where you had basically nothing to worry about, and the bear was this small."
Thanks, Dad. That really comforts me.
Thanks. I'm going to bed now.
That really helped me sleep, Dad. I think that's bonkers.
It makes me think of Homer Simpson, where Snake is out to kill Bart, and he's like on the loose or something, and he's like just trying to sleep, and Homer is just not helping. He like kicks down the door and he's like, "Hey Bart, do you want to see my new hockey mask and chainsaw?"
Yeah.
Well, he walks in with like a big sharp knife, screaming, going, "Hey, do you want some brownies?"
To be fair, I don't think this dad is very smart, because he does like run back into the snow tornado as if he's going to do anything.
And abandons his daughter. Yeah, I mean, listen.
And then dies like 5 seconds later.
And you made fun of Clark Kent for not doing that.
Well, I mean, Clark Kent is Superman though, so...
You don't know, Kyle. You never...
This is just Slipknot, the man who can claim anything.
Exactly. And he could have climbed over the tornado. Apparently he can't climb the bear.
This is another thing too. So in the comic books, the bear is just an external entity. The bear doesn't have anything to do with Danny's powers, which makes way more sense.
Yes. Because
also, everyone else's like fear and hallucinations is based on real things that happened, whereas the bear is just a made-up story.
Yep.
The movie makes more sense if the bear is some kind of vengeful Native American spirit that's after Danny. I don't know why they didn't do that.
I don't know if that would make much more sense, to be honest.
I think it would make, like, from, like, an outside perspective, because, like, did the bear come the first time? I mean, we already established this because she wants Justice League.
Oh, I see what you mean. Right, okay, it's coming back to get her later in life. I see.
Yeah, like, why does the bear come the first time around? Why does it wait 3 days to come and get her in the asylum? What's the deal with the bear?
Yeah. You're right.
Also, they don't really have a clear track record of how Danny's powers work. Like, does it happen when she's asleep? But that's not always the case because the swimming pool thing we talked about before, that happens at the same time as they're out watching the rain, I believe.
It's when she's in a highly emotional state.
Is that how it works? Is she in a highly emotional state when she's sleeping?
She's having a nightmare.
Okay. But also creates them when she's having a lovely romantic moment.
Emotions are high.
Okay, sure.
Don't know how it feeds into fear, but you know.
It doesn't, I would say.
I mean, listen, who's for us to say, you know? We are, it's our show.
Fine. We are, yeah. I say it's bad and doesn't make sense.
I say it's bad, actually, yeah.
Anyway, the bear shows up and Danny is unconscious. Because Rhea's, like, suffocated her in a bubble.
Yep.
I think is why she's unconscious.
Yep, she passed out.
And then everyone takes turns to uselessly fight the bear for, like, 10 minutes.
Yeah, well, I think Ileana does the best job.
Well, someone's like, you can't fight it, it's magic. And she's like, so am I. And that was very clever, you see, because her superhero name is magic. Except it's spelled with a K.
Completely, she's from
she
Star
pronounce
Wars.
it with a K.
Something that completely threw me is the fact that her fucking weird puppet, pirate, parrot thing through the whole film is just inexplicably, she doesn't cast a spell on it, it's just suddenly now real.
I know, it's insane. And you're like, is that even happening or is it a hallucination? But no, it's real because it shoots flames at the bear.
It's like her fucking like pet in Wizard 101.
Yes.
It just sort of sits and is like an attack companion that you have.
Mm-hmm.
That you it is quite a bizarre power.
The movie does not explain this at all.
Yeah, like is it actually a sentient puppet now? Even though it looks like a real CG animated, but in
has
the
it always been a sentient puppet?
I don't know. Is this the first time this has ever happened?
Like, which when she was pretending to talk to it earlier, was it actually talking to her?
I don't think. No, surely not. She's just insane. Why do we suddenly get... It's not like at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy 3 where Groot says, I love you guys, and that's because we now speak Groot so we can hear what he's actually saying. Relative to, like, oh, now what, we're suddenly as fucking crazy as Liana, so now we can see that it's actually real this whole time, and she's not crazy at all.
Mm-hmm. I think that's because later when she gets punched down, it turns back into a puppet again.
I think it's just because she cast a spell on it.
Okay, maybe...
But why not keep it magic at all times?
It's a great question. My reading is it's a purple pterodactyl, and it has the power to morph into a puppet.
Right, okay, because I was going to say, like, if she's casting a spell on it, like, why is she robbing her pet of its sentience every now and again, you know?
Yeah, I'm going to assume that this is a creature that was native to Limbo, and she befriended it in there or something.
And then it just chooses to be...
It can only, like, manifest in the real world for a limited amount of time, otherwise it appears as a puppet.
The fuck does that mean?
I don't know. It doesn't make any sense.
It's like, oh, I'm from Limbo, I'm from this other dimension, but I happen to become a fucking commercialized product in in your world.
It's like Roger Rabbit, right? He comes from the Toon World.
He comes from the Toon World, yeah, okay, fair, okay. So it's flying around the bear, doing dragon breathing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And Ileana is slicing and dicing. I think she's putting up a fair fight, actually.
Yeah, I mean, we don't see any visible damage to the bear, but, you know, she's distracting it.
She's holding her own. But we gotta get Danny to a safe place, and instead of fucking anywhere in the world, because the shield's gone, guys, we're running to the chapel.
Yeah, because you gotta have faith.
And demons can't get into a church.
Even though they can.
Yes, but Rain's gullible. She gave an anti-suicide prep talk at the start of the movie though, Kel, so, you know, she's good. Yeah,
it was surprisingly easy, but, you know.
Yeah, true.
She was just like, how about you don't, though? And then Daddy was like, oh, okay.
And Sam and Bobby are of the opinion they can do nothing against this bear, so they're running as well. And then later on, they're like, oh, but we got to try and do something because Ileana's been knocked out. And then they both immediately eat shit.
Yes.
Like, no, actually, you were onto something there. Your powers are useless. You're just now raising the stakes for the sake of the movie and not actually being...
But then Rain jumps on its nose and starts scratching at it a bit, and that also does nothing.
Yeah, it's like you're no longer being characters. You're now being tools for the film to artificially increase the stakes.
Yeah, it's not really a big whole, like, all the team comes together to fight this thing. It's like, no, none of them can actually defeat it. Only Danny can actually stop it.
Because the only person that can conquer your fear is you, Kyle. The real villain is fear itself. I understood this.
Which is why, in a better movie, they would all have to conquer their own fears individually in this moment. Or, as I suggested, they all fight each other's fears or something. But no, it's just like... There's no thrilling to the fear thing whatsoever.
No. Never, see if there was like a giant smiling man riding the bear.
Sure.
And like he threw lumps of coal.
He threw lumps of coal and he had a brand in one hand with a W on it.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah.
And the lumps of coal are on fire. Or
if the bear, like the big bear comes in and then it does a big creepy smile and you're like, oh no, they've combined.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's on fire because of the other thing, and
The dead girlfriend.
It has a cross on its neck.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's breathing coal.
Yeah.
Something that brought it together. This is supposed to be a team movie, and there's nothing team about the ending.
Yeah, this is a Birds of Prey situation.
No, Birds of Prey, they do all work as a team. Nathan, come on.
Okay.
How dare you?
Okay, and the emancipations of one fabulous Harley Quinn.
It's the best fight scene in any of those movies on the turntable.
This is the New Mutants and the emancipations of one fabulous Danny Moonstar.
Yeah. By the way, Bobby laughs when she says her name is Moonstar. Moonstar is a cool name. I will not hear otherwise.
I think it is a very cool name. I think now this might just be the white kilt speaking in me, but I think American Indians, Native Americans have very cool names.
I agree.
Iron Eyes and stuff like that. Like, all very cool stuff, you know?
Yeah. I mean, that is like the English translation of their names, but still.
Yes, Moonstar, I imagine, is also an equivalent.
Yes, probably, yeah.
It's like Stardust in Star Wars for Jen Erso.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, yeah, she tames the bear. She wakes up and she tames the bear, and she takes off the necklace for some reason. I thought she was going to, like, throw it away, or, like, the bear would be absorbed by the necklace somehow, but no, she just sticks it in her pocket.
She's learning to tame her fear. She no longer wears it like an anchor round her neck, weighing her down. It's now hers to do with as she pleases, Kyle. It's symbolic!
Sure.
It's like people talk about weighing something down like a chain around your neck. Like, that's a literal thing.
But isn't this the necklace that her dad gave her to comfort her against her fear?
Yeah, well, Dad's an asshole.
That's true, yeah. He started this in the first place.
He's the
true villain of the piece.
Amanda Waller blew his head off. You know?
And he was just never the same after that.
Never the same after that. He became a right online troll, so he did.
Yeah, so the moral of the story is that fear is bad.
Yeah, but the ending narration, Kyle, is, you know, about the two bears inside you, and the bear that wins, the truth is, it's whichever one you feed, Kyle.
So the true story was love. It's love.
Oh, yeah.
All you need is love.
Kyle, it's about the family you choose, and that's what's so powerful about it.
Yeah, it's about family.
No Stan Lee, Kyle. Whatever the hell his cameo would have been in this.
That's true. Yeah.
Who is he? Would he have been the smiling man?
Yeah, he would have been like on a motivational poster somewhere or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
He would have been the weatherman reporting on the snowstorm.
Yeah, that's who he would have been. You got it. I forgot about that. So, Kyle, that's the New Mutants.
Yeah, it's a movie for sure.
Yeah,
it's definitely a movie.
And we're almost at the end of our run.
It's short too. It's only 90 minutes.
Yeah, no, crazy. It's like an hour and 136 minutes. I think it was not 90 minutes.
We have episodes longer than this movie.
Yeah, we have episodes longer than this movie. This was like 1 hour 36. Incredible, but you know, the pacing issues aside and all that, definitely the worst movie we watched by far. It's the hell of a bummer for the X-Verse or the Fox X-Men era to end on. Now, Deadpool 3 kind of saves that by being like a halfway house between Fox and Disney.
Yeah.
But in terms of like a thing that Disney had nothing to do with and it's just a full Fox produced property, everything, this is it. Deadpool 3, which we'll be ending on next week, has something else going for it, but the MCU obviously is here for that point. Probably the only MCU movie we're going to be touching on for quite a while. But that's it, Kyle.
We're counting it via loopholes. So.
Yeah. Kyle, where can the people find you online?
People can, of course, find me at Kyle the Scot on YouTube. Between this and our last episode, did I have my video that went kind of crazy?
No,
I can't remember.
You did not.
No. Yeah, so I've doubled in subscribers since the last time we did an episode, so that's
Kyle
nice.
released a banger.
Apparently I did, yeah, I'll take it.
No, apparently about it. The stats speak for themselves.
The stats, yes. It's hard to feel like you have credit when the YouTube algorithm's involved, but it's fine. I think it was a good video. It's okay, yeah.
It was a great video, Kyle.
I dressed up, did good stuff, yeah. Anyway, that's where you can find me, Kyle the Scot on YouTube. Nathan, where can people find you?
The people, as always, can find me online at all good social media hosting platforms. You can find me on Blue Sky, Threads, Instagram, Twitter. Not Hive at the moment, as per always. I'll give you a weekly update on how the hell that's going. Currently nothing to report. Mastodon, of course, and in Kyle's comment sections from time to time, unless I'm being shadow banned by YouTube, which happens in Kyle's comment sections. They don't like me.
It's not my fault. It's the YouTube algorithm.
It's the algorithms being shadow banned by YouTube. Not delete the comment. Kyle can see the comment. No one else can. If that ain't shadow banning, I don't know what is. Right?
Unfortunately, no one's going to hear this because the comment that was shadow banned was telling people to listen to the podcast.
Yeah.
You played yourself there, YouTube.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I've also started the rebrand. Bad timing. So when we were doing Enter the DCEU, Kyle, or Enter the Snyderverse, I had a Twitter account called Enter the DCEU that I was using for the show. And then when we decided that this was going to branch off and we're going to keep doing things, I was like, well, I'm not making a Twitter account for the show. So I'm going to go back to the name not included Twitter account.
And then you just didn't do it for 3 months, yeah.
Yeah, I just sat on it, right? I just kind of didn't really know what I wanted to do, to be honest. The truth is, I was just conflicted about it. I just decided last week there, I was like, no, I'm actually going to do this. It's too little too late for this series, but like this is the commitment, right? So you can follow the name not included Twitter account, which is currently all branded up for Enter the X-Verse, but that'll soon be changing because next week, Kyle, we'll be revealing what our next adventure is.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
It's going to be good. It's going to be fun.
So thank you everyone very much for listening. You can catch our entire back catalogue on Instagram, not on Instagram, on our YouTube channel.
You named one of the sites that it's not on.
You can catch our whole back catalogue for Name Not Included and Enter the Snyderverse and Enter the X-Verse, all on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all good podcasting hosted platforms. Thank you so much for listening. You can catch us next week for Deadpool 3, Deadpool and Wolverine.